We usually have a little quick break to get some energy out of drink and.
But I'm saying, are we good now, or do you wanna wait a minute?
Sucks.
Nope, we missing
I'm just
anybody?
asking for,
I
We're
like
good.
Joe.
We're
They usually
good.
leave me on the
We're
hallway,
good?
so.
okay,
Yeah, they did.
If I give
Welcome
it to
back.
someone that's
We don't need to do
done
a
what
motion
they
or anything
need
to
do,
come back,
then I'd
right?
feel bad. But
okay,
if
welcome back to the work meeting, we will continue on.
But if someone just says,
Where we left at.
Item
you
2.5.
went for it,
2.5.
We're on item 2.5. Unless Clint wants to talk more about 2.4.
No, he's off.
I was
2.5, discussion of board committee and mayor pro tem assignment for 2022. I don't know who wants to kind of guide this conversation. Tammy, do you kind of want to guide this? Do you want me to guide this? Nathan, do you want to?
I can do it. So, as those who serve, have been serving, know, and those who are joining, we're about to find out. There are a lot of committees and assignments. Some are external, some are internal, and council has representation on it. There's, in the staff report, it talks about how those are selected. There are a few paid ones that are outside. They're, that we set by resolution. There are others that are internal. You will find out if you sit on a few that they seem to overlap a little bit. There are some that are really, designed like the council of mayors to have the mayor on it. So this is really just your opportunity to look through, spread the wealth amongst yourself of who wants to serve on these committees, spending their time, and then, those that need a resolution we'll come back with, otherwise we'll just put you on the list and get you signed up and help you with those notifications. It's, happy to answer specific questions if you need, but you should have the list there.
I have two thoughts.
We're gonna put the list up on that.
Yeah, like
Awesome.
changing
That'll be
that
good.
area.
Yeah, that list is a little small, that's why it's not really
Control.
Wait,
You can zoom.
fine,
I increase the size of the screen.
but then I can't.
I'm just surprised that you know how to do that.
I said that because I learned it the other day for this very reason. I was so happy I remembered it. So sorry, digress. A running inside joke. I don't do technology. I don't know how to work this stuff. I had to call tech support to figure out how to do a screenshot
Yeah,
on
they-
my work computer.
That's what I.
Because they were asking me to send them a screen. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Anyway. So my two thoughts. For my assignments, I'm good to continue with UFA. That's the big one. Some of these are huge time commitments. Some of them are not as much. That's a huge one. But knee deep and all that, if you guys want me to, I'll continue that one.
John,
I have a
And
question on
the-
keep
that one,
going.
how long, much longer will that last?
There you go, put that one up.
You
Do
zoom
you
in.
always have a seat on there if we're a contract versus the?
I don't think we always have a seat because
regardless.
we're a contract
Contract,
member.
okay, that's what I
But
was
there's
thinking.
not a term of service.
No, I just because
If we change
changed,
positions or
but
whatever,
we,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
because
Yeah, we're still a
in the
contract
house,
member
right?
of UFA, right? Yeah, so that's our representation there, so things like the finance community I talked about, I'm good with that. And the community development one, but the traffic one, transportation, we actually changed to Steve midway through last year because of the date and time that meeting does, I can't do it. So we've already did that. And then my other kind of general comment about all the assignments,
Where'd it go?
going back to the last few
Yeah,
years,
so
I think,
who's keeping track of this list for us?
sorry, I'm going too fast.
We wanna print
No,
that list
you're
out
good.
and write
We
in
have
on
it.
it.
Jackie?
Just wanna make sure somebody's writing it down.
Oh,
I've got it, Jackie.
You're also on the Southwest Mayor's Caucus, I see you wanna move.
Well, this is my general comment, which I think we've all talked, over the last little bit, individually, is that we've seen over the last couple of years, with all the development and growth issues, et cetera, and other cities that have had, even, no matter who it is from their city, one person representing them on all of those similar boards and committees, they seem to get more of what they want, they seem to get more dollars. For most of them, it's the mayor, and that makes sense in most cases, and so I think it makes sense to shift most of those things back, whether it specifically says mayor or not, but if they're similar, like Wasatch Regional Council or anything like growth oriented to get county, federal, state dollars our way or to make decisions, and then that needs to go there, that's just kind of a general notion. The other one that has my name on
That's why you
it,
get the big money.
along with that is ULTC. We have three voting members for ULTC, anybody can go.
Yeah, no.
ULTC that Sherry, me and Steve right now, I'm happy to give mine to Lauren for that if he's
Yeah,
willing to.
other than what we're hoping then is for Lauren to get on the board, cause if we can get an
Right.
appointment on the board, then we can still
That
have.
won't be
Still have
until
3 other.
September, they do the nominations in the summer and name them in September.
That's correct. Anyway,
So part of that is me, yes, wanting to palm that off on someone else, but I mean, there's so much that dovetails with ULTC, Wasatch Front Regional Council, all Southwest Mayor's, all of those things go together. You see the same people in the same rooms to make the same decisions. So to me, anything like growth oriented that has those things. Yeah, cause Southwest Mayor's Caucus, there's another, Western Growth something or other, and
COMCOG.
like they all do some of the same sort of stuff and it's all the same people most of the time. But we kinda missed a lot there, so.
Well, anything that's like Common Cog or that's appointed from Common Cog, then
Yeah.
it should be Lauren. Seems like, that's how it was always traditionally in the past, correct?
Is Common Cog with the mayor?
Yeah, and all the rest of those appointments that were like associated,
Yeah,
that
and then
you're
those
appointed
were-
from Com and you're appointed from
Or
Cog.
he could assign somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the municipal councils, the COG gets together and then they appoint, but they usually don't appoint themselves as the mayor is there doing it. Because they're on the
Right.
council.
That's what Steve, you
Yeah.
said you're the chair of that,
Yeah,
so you would stay on,
I'm happy to stay on or
of course.
not, it's fine.
No, I love it.
Lauren's gonna be sad if you stay on here.
Should we just go down the list then? You wanna
Yeah.
start at the
Yeah.
Nominate Lauren, I nominate Lauren.
AMC,
So I can stay there.
anybody opposed to that?
No.
No.
Conference of Mayors,
Lauren,
Council of Government, Lauren. Finance Committee,
This is an internal committee
right,
to the city.
sure. I think Teddy.
Teddy and Sherry?
Yeah.
Sherry, do you wanna stay on it?
We can make it pay.
sure. Okay.
Make it optional.
We'll provide.
I did fall asleep during that presentation, so.
Oh,
His eyes were open to hear this.
Glazed.
So Joint Policy Advisory Committee.
JPAC,
That is
It's a
a,
WFRC
and
appointment.
so what
That's
we'll
an
do
appointment,
is
so.
when WFRC has their next meeting, they should be appointing people. We need to point them out that that's a vacancy.
And Harriman was on that, we'd like to keep it, because that's one of those fund appropriation kind of committees.
So assuming that they already continue to be on it.
Who
who
wants
wants
it?
to be on it?
Plug in there just so it's ready
Who's best to be on it?
Yeah, what is
Lauren?
that? Who's,
I
I'm not,
nominate Lauren.
I haven't zapped through any of those, so I don't know who else is
But yeah,
on.
give them a description of what it is and.
I don't, they don't meet very much.
They don't.
JPAC,
It feels legislative type thing, so it could be one of those things you go to and then
It's
say,
from
hey,
WFRC, so I think to me it falls in that realm of those people making those decisions.
Yeah.
There's a reason they don't meet very often.
so you're probably on that and then after.
It's about transportation, statewide forum for discussion of cross-agency transportation issues.
So we need a bigger voice on that.
They meet like four times a year quarterly.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a lot, but you start putting in an extra meeting every week or that busy week and you're like, oof.
Look, you got an extra money that he's.
That's right, he's getting paid more, he should
You're
be
not
fine.
on.
You didn't know
You're
this.
up to four. You're up to
$5.25 an
overemphasized
hour
the
now.
point. What about the next one? How do you feel about that one, Steve?
It's a really interesting appointment. It is it's kind of we get to vote on things every once in a while, but it's very weird how it's done. It's like here's 50 projects and they all need to be approved and they were tier 3s and now they're tier 2s and we need you guys all to approve that it can be moved to a tier 2. So that's basically, you're just setting the stage so that funds can be distributed to projects that have already been approved.
And just to point out, that is a COG appointment, so the Council of Governments makes those appointments. I don't know how that structure is done. And so they should be making those appointments soon,
Probably next week.
next week when they have their meeting.
Part of the Southwest mayors, I'm sure, Trent has talked to you. At least we went through that process a couple of years ago when we made the changes. We really tried to work together Southwest to make sure that we are helping each other fill some of those spots so that we're
Yeah.
covered, so Lauren will have that conversation.
So
Yeah,
just,
I would love to try to keep Steve on it if anybody has a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with that, other than I'm just curious, are the people there, again, those are not, they don't typically appoint themselves, right? You're not seeing a bunch of mayors on that, you're seeing.
There are some though, it's surprising, it's got, yeah, I mean,
If
Aaron
so-
Mendenhall's on that, several other mayors from around, you know, some of the more rural towns and stuff like that are in there. It's huge, I mean, there's probably 35 people in there, I mean, it's a big group,
I mean, I
so.
don't care at all, I was just curious more than anything.
I think that's kind of the litmus test, at least for me though, is like if it's the same, if it's mostly mayors,
Then go with
Yeah.
that.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that too, if you understand that, Steve.
but Steve's point, I mean, you're gonna have to judge, cause there, yeah, you think you have time to do it all.
Well, that's what I'm worried about, I mean, if there's one I'm looking at that we can,
So I said, I don't know anything about it, so I asked him.
Yeah, no, I agree, I think that if there's a mixed bag of it, and you wanna stay on it, I see no reason not to.
I'm fine, it's,
okay, let's keep Steve there.
it's just easy to, whatever.
Yeah,
The regional transportation thing, if that's a comm appointment, I think we could, if it's because that's a vacancy now, to reappoint somebody, we could nominate the new guy.
Steady, two, Salt Lake Regional Transportation Choice Fund Working Group. How often do they meet, anybody know?
I think it's probably quarter that they do,
I would guess quarterly
I say,
too.
that is
Like money.
That's money.
money.
It's a good one.
You okay with that, Teddy?
Yep.
On this ZAP tier 2 thing,
Isn't that exactly what Tony was talking about today?
my understanding is that COM appointed me. That was like in January, my first January. In February, they had a kickoff meeting. It was like a cocktail party thing, right? And then in March, COVID, and they just canceled all their meetings. And I haven't gotten a communication, a word, an idea. I don't know when they meet. I don't know where they
And they've had
meet.
staff turnover as well.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on there at all.
That's
It's,
different than
I haven't ever
That's
been,
different than TRCC.
yeah, I haven't been
She
to a
was talking
single
about
meeting.
TRCC.
So in 2 years, I haven't been to one meeting or gotten an email,
At the
so.
last COM meeting in December, they talked about getting this going again and trying to rope some, like Bluffdale and some stuff in there, so I think, I believe it is a COM appointment, but it doesn't have to be the mayor, right? They were trying to find people to serve on it.
But that one is.
Tier 1 or
that-
tier 2?
Tier 2.
It's tier 2, yeah.
It's an advisory board, so I'm not making final decision on money, but like you said, they're teeing it
You
up
are
for
Yeah.
what
You are
is
pushing
gonna
money
get
out.
money.
Yeah, and so if I remember right, I was like, yeah, I'll do that one, you know, anything have to do with arts money, I'm in, so.
And we get funding from them. I mean, they sponsor
Yes,
stuff, so.
not very much
Yeah, but it's,
right
yeah.
now. I'd like to get more.
Is it
I think I'd like
it's
to get a better-
90% goes to solid
I would
waste.
like to get an understanding of what amount of funds they have, how they're making those decisions, where that money's going to and how that's allocated.
Agreed.
I wonder if you help
Yeah.
drive that a little bit, it would help really validate some, really.
I just don't know who, what's that a division of, or who oversees that, or.
It's in Holly Yoakum's group,
She's gone.
and she's leaving, so like I said, they've had a lot of turnover in the ZAP.
I just got an email from
Program.
them about,
I don't know who's on there.
Let me do some
Yeah,
follow-up
cause
work on that tomorrow.
if I can help get something rolling there, I'm in.
Yeah.
Should we keep Steve's name there then?
Mosquitoes, love mosquitoes, I'm learning a ton.
Daniel
I
Sturgis.
love them.
You just wanna go to
I love
Florida.
mosquito abatement, it's
Steve wants to
Hey
go
man,
there.
my favorite word, Culex tarsalis, man.
What?
That's a brand new, that's a corporate name.
He's the grant and communications coordinator.
I
He started
didn't
sending
know how to
emails.
pronounce chikungunya till
Well, I'm happy to
But I will tell
research
you-
that some more tomorrow, because it's the right place.
Really?
Okay, so we're keeping Steve on.
Somebody else
You know
wants
who it
to,
is.
or he doesn't want it.
Do you want to stay on mosquito?
I'm fine.
Are we giving it up to Sherry, to Teddy? I don't feel like we're.
Either one of them can have it. Give it to Jared.
I can't do it, I was on
I'll
mosquitoes,
just
but
tell
I
him put
can't do it because
goldfish in
Yeah.
his hot
it's the
water.
same as the water,
Is
cause
the
on
water thing,
Monday,
yeah, right.
yeah. I liked it.
Sewer
Fun.
district.
So how do you guys feel about that?
We need to change.
100% needs to be somebody here.
I think it has to be an elected official.
I agree, I feel like, cause there is a representative of the city and it needs to be somebody that the residents have asked to represent the city.
It's also a taxing entity.
Yeah, that's the thing, when it has ability to
Tax
enact
without
taxes and fees and
representation.
stuff like
Yeah.
that, we need to have an elected official represented on there, yeah.
I agree.
So do we need, there were notes about a resolution or something like
So
that?
you would need to do, this is one of the ones we'd come back with a resolution, and what that resolution would request that the district do it. The district
Sure,
doesn't have to, but they have said they would,
got it.
so whatever that's worth, but that's, so you
What's
do
our,
a resolution.
what does the prior resolution say? Cause I wanna say in all of ours, every time we've done that, it's been, there's a resolution nominating this person, you know, or the length of their, whatever that term is, or their term in office, whichever comes first.
I don't know, I know the district is the one who reached out and said, hey, we'll do whatever, but
Said they should honor our
current
request,
district,
but
I would anticipate they would.
And you know, honestly, I think there's, I don't know, how long is that term on the board? Is it 4 years?
4 years.
but for
It
our
just-
resolution, I
it
think
just
that's
doesn't
how we should word it. Anyway,
For this
that's the
new
worst.
resolution
You know,
coming.
I-
Jared, our resolutions for those just say until a successor is appointed.
Yeah, cause I think that,
There's the thing with the sewer
I would
board,
put it, because that's.
they
'cause we-
actually have a couple of seats that are elected.
Elected, yeah.
Right, on the
Right.
east side, and like, they're not appointed by the city, so there's a couple that actually have terms, but that's, I mean, the rest of them
Yeah.
are appointments for the city.
Right.
Sorry, Steve.
And I appreciate Clint's desire to continue to serve it and participate in that, so I respect that. But I do believe it needs to be somebody that's a current city representative.
I
elected
agree.
Especially the taxation issue.
The reason I ask about the term issue is I think that that's something that if we appoint to one person and if they serve that for a 4-year term, I mean, I'm okay with that, but we've talked about moving that around, those kind of assignments. To have one person serve that, it's a compensated position on a board, right?
It's really the only one that is.
Yeah, well, and
No, the Jordan Valley,
the
the Jordan
water
Valley
thing is too,
Well,
right?
that's a
A government appointment.
That's a governor appointment
appointed
that
position.
covered it, she actually represents 3 different cities, not
Right.
just us.
Right. So,
And Mosquito Bay.
Six, that's not.
Hey, you can
It
go
adds
with,
up, it
you
adds
can
up.
go
That's
with add your
comparable.
gas, you can almost get.
But to Steve's point, and thank you, Jackie, for clarifying that, how we word that resolution until we appoint a successor.
right, 'cause even though it's a 4-year term by what
By their
their,
bylaws.
by what their things are, I mean, internally, we could do that on a 2-year basis or something like that and move that to another person. I think it gets more of us understanding of what they're doing, gets us,
Broader
Yeah.
scope.
more people connected in there, right? And,
I
and
forgot, sorry, I like you.
does that make sense? So, I do not want another assignment. But I would say with you and I having 2 years left on our term, one of us serving there would say that after the next election, it would be easier to have Lauren or Teddy or Sherry take that over and do another 2 years, right? And as their term is still going for that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. The only thing I would say that's concerning, and I know it is always for the entity, is that when you have turnover, you have to get.
Re-educate.
Yeah,
I totally
I
get
think
it too.
that's kind of the biggest problem. I had this discussion yesterday with these boards and committees, is that there's always a turnover in the political cycle. So it's easy as a board just to move ahead with what you're doing because the new people have no clue what they're doing anyway. And so if you can live through them for 2 or 3 years,
Yeah, the senior members of
mean that
those groups
word,
tend to,
Yeah,
I
but
understand what
you
you're
know, you know what I'm saying, it's
So-
just that when you dig in, it's like Jared, when you dug into the police, did you do it the first year, or did it take you a while to figure out, oh, something's going on?
It took good 2 years to.
That's, I guess that's
Yeah,
my only
it
point,
takes
is it's just, that's the I understand,
then,
it's the
then let
learning.
me, and again, I'm, believe me, I do not wanna advocate for another way too many appointments. But if we're invested in that thinking, that having somebody maintain on that for a while gives better control, better oversight, better service to the district and to our
I don't know that
community.
that's necessarily, at least that's not how I'm interpreting it.
Yeah.
I'm interpreting it as, I don't know that I wanna set a firm
Two-year thing, okay,
policy
I
of
understand.
2-year rotation. If we have somebody maybe that's working or whatever,
Yeah.
and wanna keep them there.
The
Well, then
situation's
my
changed
thing-
too.
Then what I would say is, then maybe that's something we would recommend Teddy for if he's willing. Because then if he's in 2 years and he's doing a good job and the council's confident with it, then he can continue on because he's still got 2 more years in office.
You're still evaluated every year, right? This comes up every year, annually.
Right, but what I'm saying is
They see
that
where the same.
it gives you an opportunity to perpetuate that beyond a 2-year term,
And I
right?
could do it too.
Whereas you and I only have 2 years left, and who knows what we're gonna decide,
I'm gonna be
right?
selfish and say, I really don't wanna do it. I've tried to
Yeah.
tear down.
I'm with you.
Would,
There's-
would
the
having
one-
that
the one
longer
thing that I-
term go to a chair position or a board position, or is there that in that
You do that,
organization?
yeah, they do that internally.
Could be, yeah, it's
But it
there.
could, so in the
It
fourth
could,
year,
yeah.
you
The
could.
one thing I thought about with the compensation issue, when my first year when I came in, I found out that I didn't know that there were all of these things that have to be basically, I thought this was the job, and I've spent probably more time sitting in those other
Doing those
meetings
other
that I
meetings,
have here that aren't compensated, and when I found out that one was, I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me, that's not fair,
Right.
right? But as I talked to a few other people, most cities will give the mayor that, because it's a way to help out with
Incentivize.
that compensation issue. It's not an overly demanding board, but with everything else we're asking of you, I don't know that you want to do that.
I prefer not.
Yeah.
Honestly.
In that case, I would agree and say,
Sherry,
if Teddy's going to.
Other than Dawn said she's the only woman on it, and it's the only woman that's ever been on it. I'm just kidding. She made me feel guilty today, I was like, okay, I should probably be on that.
I know how pipes work, so.
Yeah, I would just say, unless you're opposed to it,
I'm not opposed to it.
I think there could be benefit to it. And in 2 years, the council
No, I'm
could
just-
be different, and make a
What if-
different decision,
if
and
you
that's
don't-
fine too, but.
If it doesn't work for you.
Yeah, then you
That's
come back,
it,
but
yeah.
I would say at least there's an opportunity that if it works and it's going well and everybody's mutual, to have a longer term based on some of the things that Sherry's talking about.
I
too.
think that your point was well taken,
Yeah.
you know, what I mean, I 100% agree with that, the only concern I always have is exactly that, it's just.
Undermining a board and,
Well, it's just that sometimes there's things that going on and then you don't really understand them until you've been on there a while, and then it's like, then you can start to make some
See the
changes.
holes and see the.
it took me 2 years to figure out mosquitoes, I'm telling you, holy.
Well, unfortunately, it's not just about knowing how pipes work, it's a
Oh, I know,
political body that makes
Yeah,
political decisions, and it
exactly.
takes a while to figure out who's who and what's what,
Who the
and,
players are.
yeah.
Mhm.
So,
but I will say
some
touring
continuity makes
their
sense,
plant,
but not
touring
locking
the
it
plant
into.
she sits on.
The water is.
Yeah,
doesn't
I
make sense
think-
for us, like I said, I know why they do it,
Yeah.
the couple of them,
Treatment plant versus the sewer.
Yeah.
that doesn't fit with our cycles.
And we
Yeah.
really
So
do
it's-
this every
that's why
year.
you're done with it.
Right, and
So,
I think it would be, we would leave that in Teddy's hands to say how it's going, how he feels about it.
yeah, and then we're gonna
Level of
call up the
competency,
people
the
and
importance
say,
of, you know,
does
that kind of thing.
Does he even show up?
And you know what?
Has he ever said anything?
The good thing is this body will be back together again in a year, and we'll be,
Yeah.
with these the ones we'll be making decision. In 2 years, it could be different people in these chairs.
Yep.
And you guys might decide something different, so.
And quite frankly, we've had that issue in the past where somebody just didn't show up for a year to a very important assignment,
We
and so,
could, not yet.
and so.
Don't pull that.
And so,
I don't wear high heels, so.
Okay, let's move on.
So for us,
Let's
it's
move on.
every,
That's good.
so it's
Stop
every.
listening to
It's
your
a
comments.
good discussion.
Yes.
So this is our
That's you.
council rules of procedure. Our council rules of
Hold on one second.
procedure state that we revisit this every other year. So it's on the even years.
oh, it's when
every
they're in
other
election
year.
cycle, really, yeah, that makes sense. So you're.
So it's a 2-year appointment then.
But we can do
it's-
it.
Right.
It's the same thing always, if you're overwhelmed with something, you just come and say, I can't fulfill this, cause
Teddy goes to a couple of these meetings and realizes, okay, I'm out, this was a bad decision.
Well,
We
like,
could appoint somebody else.
Need a 2 week, 2-week resignation, you know.
That's right.
Assuming we don't need to talk
You're
about
gonna get it.
Southwest mayors, it's like the traffic transportation committee, I said that meeting is on the same day and
Yeah.
the same as the UFA meeting, and I can't spend the whole day in city meetings and take that away from the time I have to make a living. And so I said I gotta make a change and put Steve on there.
And this is an internal,
And that was,
Board that
yeah,
we-
Right.
Is it the caucus?
this is a
No,
traffic.
the Southwest
and
Mayor's
Transportation.
Caucus,
Oh, we're
I
down
think we
one.
should
That is
assign
the
to Lauren. And then the transportation committee is an internal thing,
Do you just
and
wanna
I've
stay
been doing,
on
it's
since you-
fine, it's good. That's a fun
you've been
meeting.
doing it?
You're on that one as
They
well?
feed
Yeah.
you.
They do, they feed us, Bryce runs a good meeting,
Traffic
pretty
transportation.
good deal.
Get a bunch of credit.
So the next one is the
And
transportation.
I get to be in there with Shaver, which is just kinda makes it all worth the while.
So now you can have
He's
your
all
meal
grumpy
listen
and
to
work.
Nathan.
Entertaining it. You did that pretty well.
Okay, so
Let LPC,
You can hear it.
I really wanna stay on LPC unless somebody has an objection
no, I
to
would like
that.
you to stay on that.
And Lauren, unless Teddy feels bad, but I think Lauren should be on that also.
Nope. It should be good. What about the TCC, the Transportation Coordinating?
Oh, sorry,
That
that's
would
a,
just
that's
be
a
called.
vacancy.
Okay, alright.
We're gonna let them
It's
know
an
that
appointment.
vacancy and see if we can still.
Who do we want to nominate for that then?
For the Transportation Coordinating Committee.
Yeah, I think one of you two.
It's again one of those.
My
Yeah, I'll
hands
be
are-
glad to
I'm
do
full.
that if, I don't have too many, do I yet?
No.
Okay.
You okay with that? Everybody okay with that? Share that out
Yeah.
if we try to.
That'd be really good.
Is that like,
I don't think they meet that.
They meet weekly.
yeah, exactly, they usually, COG things usually are quarterly,
Yeah,
aren't they?
most of the time.
most of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Appointed.
So LPC, me, Sherry, and Steve.
yeah. That's a good meeting too, there's usually
Yeah, I
good
love
stuff in there.
LPC, I usually, I
You know,
haven't
there's
been going
one-
up there.
you know, there's one a week during
I
session,
can't
you
ever
know,
make
so-
it back, but I definitely
One
listen.
LPC meeting a week during
Yeah.
session.
During the
There
session.
is, and then otherwise it's once a month.
And you'll be up there
And
most of the time anyway.
guess who's in charge of that group? Mayor Ramsey, she chairs that.
She's always like a
Like I said.
She's on 30 committees.
She does a lot, man.
But if you want stuff, please do.
Do we have a daycare provider on staff?
Yeah, oof.
So
Bryn
that,
Cohen?
I just wanted to go back to the Transportation Coordinating Committee.
Mhm.
That one is a Wasatch Front Committee, they meet. I mean, it's mostly, it's a lot of mayors, commissioners,
Yeah, it's a
board
good
of
one.
trustees.
So you think
Use
that
your
Lauren should be
discretion.
on that one, Transportation Coordinating
I
Committee?
kinda think so, but
'Cause
that's
it's a
up to
COG
you guys.
appointment, right?
It's, yeah. If there's 2 seats available in Salt Lake County.
See, and that,
And so we might,
I can see Lauren's face right through the
You might not
mask,
have
like,
anybody.
So we may not get
we
it
might
all.
not give an appointment on
we
it
might not,
anyway.
but we can
There's
ask
5
for it.
meetings a year.
And so that was one, again, there's only 2 for the entire county.
Yeah, and I'll tell you another thing for sure too, Lauren, is a lot of these are obviously informative, kind of, come and sit and listen. And so if you're like, I'm tapped out this week, I can't make it, any of us can go and fill in for you on one of these meetings, so anybody that will say yeah.
Actually, I think that's a really important thing for you to
Yeah,
be able to rely on that too, right?
yeah, if you're getting
Maybe
overrun and you can't, you have to tap out on
Yeah.
any of us.
Most of
can
them are
fill in
broadcast
for you.
into.
Transcom is where the main funding for our STIP funding
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
it,
where
it's, that's,
Transcom's who approves it.
that was a big, thing to have somebody on there, but it's not a guarantee.
Yeah,
So, and if somebody's on there, it's probably, that mayor title is a big deal for you to be on there.
So I need to try that.
We can change my name to Mayor.
What I would say is that's some of the relationship building, and we may miss it this time, but we may be able to grab it in the future.
Yeah,
That's your talk to your selectmen, coordinate.
so League UFA,
UFA, Jared.
the UTA board is still,
it's again an appointment.
It's
We'll
an
keep Jared on
appointment.
UFA.
but that'd be a good one to have. Is that UTA, is that's not a lot of mayors, is it?
I'll pull it tight when it does.
I went to that meeting once and I was like, this is the
Yeah,
least exciting meeting I've been to.
I know,
It was,
that's you, Teddy, I nominate Teddy.
That's that is a,
That's a short stick, right?
oh, man.
Again, these are COG appointments,
To be
so what we'll
honest.
do is
Yeah.
we'll notice
But,
that we
Yeah.
have
but who do we wanna put a name up for? We wanna put Teddy's name up for that?
Lauren,
Or is-
all the COG appointments, like those other mayors are gonna look at you and say, if you guys wanna keep it. Do you
Say
wanna keep
yes.
it? If so, then who do we need to
Yeah,
get?
right, that's what I'm saying, so who-
That one, there are a lot of mayors on that.
Talking
And
to
they
me.
appoint different people, they don't
Mayor
just,
Fuller.
it's not designated, each city gets a representative, it's just open for anybody
Right.
to offer appointments, so you'll just wanna make
If
sure
we
that
have
you
anybody on there, I
offer
mean,
somebody.
There's 4 meetings a year.
Wanna say this the right way, I'm never delicate when I talk about ETA.
Right.
I don't know that it really
Current
is gonna go.
composition, it's like a rubber stamp, but if we're ever gonna get anything from UTA out here,
We have to know.
cloud it is gonna be.
We really wanna see if we can get somebody in there, yeah.
And you can sleep between midnight and 2.
You know, I think the other thing about that is with.
What's great is you can attend a lot of these remotely too, right, the informational ones, whatever.
There's another thing is with some of the
The
other
best thing
things,
for me, oh my gosh,
with some of the other things that we've been talking about,
Yes.
Sherry, with our, some of our efforts, right?
Are you doing UTA?
We might be
Oh,
able to
he's
bring
gonna-
some stuff to UTA that nobody else is bringing.
Yeah.
Right?
He's gonna-
Yep,
He's just gonna nominate.
we might have some opportunity
so.
there, and I think it would be
Yeah.
good for us to have.
Yeah, I think
Strong
I would love to
representation in
keep,
that board.
keep that, be on the advisory council, love to have some representation,
Yeah.
for sure.
Hold on, let's clarify something on UTA. Lauren, you're gonna put yourself on there if you're available to on the appointment?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, the nice thing is put yourself on there, and if you can't make it,
Right.
send one of your cronies,
Onions?
minions, that's right, I saw the hats.
Okay,
Smoky.
this Wasatch Front Economic Development District, I do not believe that I was appointed to that. But I think we put my name in for it,
Okay,
and Clint was gonna, like, suggest it, but I don't know if anything ever came of it, cause I have no notice of my appointment there.
And that may be one where they appoint and they didn't choose, so we can just ask.
Yeah, maybe. But the Economic Development District, if I am not on that, if I'm on that, I probably better go. If I'm not on that, we could recommend Teddy's name for that.
I've heard that so many times.
Because I don't want another one.
Count, make sure.
actually, I would do that one, the economic
You wanna
development.
do that one too,
Yeah.
Economic Development?
I like
Yeah.
it.
Sure, okay.
WFRC,
That's,
that's mayor.
yeah, Wasatch Front Regional Council, that's a good one, yeah.
Waste and Recycling District.
It's me, unless somebody wants to kick me off, I'm the chair this year.
No.
No,
Let's
that's
keep
good.
you on there.
You should
For the
have left that
Wasatch
information
Front
out.
Economic Development.
You're in charge of the
Board.
garbage.
Yeah.
It looks like
Yeah,
there's nothing.
I'm so excited
We
because
were not
my
selected
hope and
for
prayer
it.
is within the
You weren't
next few
selected for
months.
Steve?
Yeah,
Sorry.
we weren't
Done.
There's
selected.
no
as special
openings in
needs.
Salt Lake County.
I saw.
So we were-
I think that was the same problem last time, like it just wasn't,
That's.
there wasn't
How
space.
big.
Wendy looked it up
It's
too.
not a big deal.
Okay, so waste, we're keeping Sherry.
District, she's the chair.
Perfect.
That's good.
Western Growth,
You know, I don't wanna just punt everything off on you. I think you would, I think you'd do good in that. They don't meet very often. It's,
You like it, huh?
it hasn't been the most productive meetings, but, I did get to meet a lot of people. I got connected with some of county staff at some of those meetings and some things like that, so it was positive results. I don't know that the meetings are all that influential or important, but they're good
You might
things to
learn
talk about.
something
Yeah.
for the first little while.
Yeah, yeah,
Good networking.
just a little bit more out of the
so we
firehouse.
okay with Teddy on that one?
Yep.
Is
Is
Teddy
Teddy
Teddy,
okay
you
with
okay
that?
with that?
Yeah. Well, when do you want your house done, Steve?
Better speak up, man.
No, that's fine.
I don't care, you gotta talk to the boss.
Arts Council, sorry, I'm just trying to keep going. Arts
This is
Council.
internal.
I will stab anybody who comes to.
Year.
Yeah. That's the only one I want.
And everybody appreciates your presence when you join in the meetings.
Yeah, I love it, it's so good.
Okay, audit committee, I'm assuming that's internal as well?
Yes.
Would go along with the finance one today.
I have,
But would you want me to sit on the finance committee and audit committee, or is that?
yes,
You
yes,
can.
that'd be
Oh,
great.
stop it. There's,
Steve and Teddy.
I only have to take one bribe, is that what you're telling me, for two committees?
Wow.
That's usually a good one, I think you should rotate regularly, just so
Yeah, I
everyone gets
agree.
exposed
More
to
eyes,
it,
yeah.
and gets a chance to understand it.
So one new and one.
It's really,
I like that.
honestly, as,
But you're still on it, so.
You're still on it.
Alan's pretty good at what he does.
Well, I've
It's a pretty
noticed
easy
that
day.
over the. We just gotta figure out our.
We beat him
our
up
tip
over the
line, right?
findings, right? Like, what is this? Why did we miss $2,500?
When the
This
comma
is
looks like a
totally
dot,
unacceptable.
like a colon.
That's all I hear about at my house, Alan, is findings. All day, every day.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about all we're gonna be able to get.
Community Development Committee.
That's,
Jared, do you wanna stay on it?
Jared and I are doing that one. That's been really
Okay.
good.
So you two continue there then, is that okay?
Yeah, happy to.
Okay. Trails,
I'm on there, haven't been a long time, but have they been meeting?
They, no, not really.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Steve.
Jared.
Is that the deal? 'Cause I haven't received anything on the Trails Committee.
They've canceled a lot of meetings or.
Steve
gone
on that one.
virtual. But now we'll bring the new committee appointees to you next week, and then we'll get meetings going in February.
Yeah, I'm happy to
so-
stay on that unless somebody feels passionately like they'd like to take it over. But I just haven't been
I'd like you to be on
active.
there,
Not
but I
to
would
skip,
like
but-
to, love to come sometimes.
Yeah,
How-
I wanna be it.
Who's gonna arm wrestle you for youth council?
I think sure this is
Bring
a
your,
job.
bring your A game, babe, because I'm
She's
gonna hurt
gonna
you.
stab it.
Sherry loves that, man.
I do, but I don't, you know, obviously if somebody
I think
thinks
you
They
I
do
should be
such-
removed, but you'll have to wait
It's been
until
so
after
rockin'.
Utah State, cause I'm going this year. I'm gonna be able to go.
So we just need somebody on veterans.
Teddy,
Yeah, I would love to do that.
That'd be really good.
that's tailor made, man.
We do have the new OHV committee, I don't know if you want a liaison on that.
Next year.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody wants to be on OHB, I don't know, I'm not an OHB guy, I don't.
Teddy,
Oh,
Do I get a word, what's his name? The
Wayne.
chair?
Wayne.
Dwayne Borington.
Wayne's awesome.
You good with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's cool.
You can drive your golf cart over.
I will. I'm gonna pimp it out, put a lift on it.
Fit right in.
Except I gotta get a license, it's like an unauthorized vehicle or something.
You get, yeah, it's not illegal here.
Good thing I live in an HOA.
That was easy.
Is there anything else, any other committees that we put on?
Sure.
What about the new one? Do we need a,
Oh,
Rep on that?
TRCC, we need to talk about TRCC.
Is that something, we appoint someone to that, or do they have to ask for it?
So, I was just looking at it, you apply,
Don't look at me. Why are you looking
the
at me?
Salt Lake
Doesn't do-
County, so COG appoints 5 people, mayors who are municipal member of the council of governments to be aware of formation, blah, 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 blah. There's quite a few vacancies, there's only 6. Let's see. Quite a few vacancies that are coming, the end of this month and beginning of February.
So it has to be mayors, or mayors just have to submit?
It does not, it's mostly comprised of mayors, but there's a director that's on there.
Application.
Money.
It's money.
I think I'd like to be on that, and then somebody else has a really strong preference to be on that. And what is it, should Lauren be on that?
I think it's probably, it's the Tourism Recreation Cultural and Advisory Board, and they give out a lot of money.
A lot of those
One of
they
the
do,
grants that
like
I got
they
for
schedule
Keaton.
it
Yeah,
with Common Cog and.
I've been hit up, full disclosure, I've been hit up by a few people already,
Be on that?
asking if I would
Good.
consider it, including Martin Jensen.
Yeah.
Actually, mentioned it to me, who's at the county.
That'd be awesome.
Well, and
Yeah, it
Tani
sounds like
was-
that decision's already been made.
Yeah, and Tani was talking about that today, right?
She's on it, her term expires in February, and I don't know if they're gonna.
Yeah. No, for sure, she was
Mountain's
saying,
right up
need to
your
be on
alley, no matter what.
So I'll start working some stuff. and try to-
Honestly, full disclosure, so that everybody in the council is clear. Other than the Arts Council,
That's all you want?
I don't care. You
Yeah.
can take anyone, anytime, anybody else can serve.
This has been good.
I'm
Do we get anything on the Friends of Harriman
Yeah,
stuff?
what about the nonprofit? Do we need somebody?
You can have a liaison on that if you want. We meet on, we're gonna have our first meeting on the 27th. of this month.
I don't wanna put anything else on you, but that seems like it would be a really good mayor.
Do we need,
Are you cross-eyed yet?
To be honest,
do we need a separation
For
though?
the first
for
little
the
while, maybe,
internal boards, if you just wanna attend when you can, and we can give
Yeah.
you staff updates or have the chair come and do a presentation at council
Yeah.
meeting with
Yeah.
updates.
That's probably smart.
And at least they have somebody they can reach out to if they have a question or problem or concern.
Yeah.
They have a point person, right?
And I think all the applicants know who he is, so.
Chris and I kind of live close to each other.
So, alright.
Okay. Okay, thank you, that was,
Also, is the council wanting to nominate a mayor pro tem for 2022 or do it like we did it for 2021?
my recommendation is we continue how we did it, personally.
I like that better, we don't
Yeah,
have
I
to
think
worry
that's
about
a good idea, and
anybody's
it's a
there.
backstop for you too, that if you're out of town or say you're capacitated or busy, there's a default backup that's just rotated among the council like we did.
Oh, so you wanna do a nomination, not just
No,
do
no, no,
it?
remember how last year we had
Just
that
do it.
Just
person
at
for the
that.
council that month, right? I think
Oh,
we should
just
just
the
keep
regular
going that,
spokesperson?
Do you
but
just want us
they're the backup to,
And I
The
put this out, are you gonna be here the first week of February, first meeting? I would like Sherry to take February, and go into that, cause I would love to have her conduct. I will be remote the first meeting in February, and I would love to have her conduct that meeting. I
So
think it would
then just
be
one of the other members
amazing.
of council
I
will just
second
make
that
a
motion.
motion.
I'm just saying.
Well, I have to conduct a single council meeting in 4 years.
That's why I want you to do.
So you have to make a motion on that?
Yeah, just to nominate a mayor pro tem.
Sherry's my idol, that's
Just
my hope.
Screwing up.
No, for the.
We wanna do the
term.
regular
Like,
rotation.
No,
No, we're not doing the full year.
But we would
No,
start,
we're
we'll
doing
just do
it
a
in
rotation. So what we'll do, when we bring back this, we'll bring you the
Oh.
rotation, you guys can say, yes, we wanna
We're
do
gonna
that,
make
we'll
sure
try and
that
make
she
sure that we don't.
gets
I think he's gonna do a monthly rotation.
We don't have
so-
somebody-
Sherry in February,
Yeah,
that's all.
I
Okay,
have
being in
a-
October, who's
What we
running
did was,
in
because
November.
we
Yes.
didn't have the
That's-
mayor
that's
yet, we
important
appointed
point.
one council person to be the spokesperson for the council that month, so if there was a press request or an event or something. My suggestion is that we just maintain that rotation, but we call, that's the backup, right? So
But Jackie wants a
if we need
motion
somebody
for
to
that,
run a meeting,
so-
that person could do it that month.
No, just at the meeting, you would
Oh,
just
so
make
we have to
a
do-
motion
I see.
to.
What
But
we'll
at
do
any
is let's
meeting,
work
we
out a
just have-
schedule
yeah.
and then we'll bring it
Yeah.
back to them as part of this and they can just adopt it then. Like I
Yeah.
said, the one thing I wanna make sure is that when we get towards the election in a few years, that we don't have anybody running, being the representative in October. Immediately,
Even
Or
once they
primary.
define
Maybe
her.
September.
I would probably cut it off, but that's what
Cut
we'll
it off
do.
during the,
Well, look, we'll
yeah.
have, what we have,
That's probably a good.
It's probably on the
Up
filing date,
next time?
July, right, June?
no,
That's
we'll
probably
have
when we
two.
should decide.
So
You
that's
just leave
good.
those months
Right.
blank and then we just nominate them.
Those two.
Or you cycle
Well,
either
it's
one
just
of them,
a
cycle it in
cycle
there
of
too.
Or we'll,
would be
we'll
up.
force the
Yeah.
two more
Yeah.
running.
That would
I-
be last.
You're
I've got
making
it
a
all
big
on the
assumption that I
calendar,
would be a
so yes.
candidate, so.
I just wanna
think
put
it'd
it
be
so
very
we
easy to
don't
just-
get zinged again.
I'm not saying I wanna do anything.
He wants to stay on the Arts Council.
That's all, yeah, that's all I wanna do.
Okay, so we good with that? So as long as
I've
Sherry's
done
on the
my
calendar in
time.
February, I'm good.
I paid for my crimes.
Are you okay with it? I think
I'm gonna
it'd
be out
fun.
2 years.
I'm sick that day.
Okay, we'll move on. Item 2.6. Jackie. District option.
So with the adoption of the legislature's maps that was back in November, we have a process that we need to go through that needs to be adopted within 6 months of that date. So the middle of February, we do need to have new council maps drawn. This was staff's initial rendition to kind of redraw those lines to make each district substantially equal population. With these, what the proposal is to come up with a starting point for a map to then go out. I would utilize the community facilitators to go through, take a map, whether it's this one or not, to the public to get their input and provide all of their input to bring to the council for consideration and then move forward with additional public hearings after we can kind of put together a draft.
I'm confused.
So we just went through and said, okay, let's try and, if we were to balance it just At if you just drew lines,
Keep similar boundaries, but balance the number of populations.
so those numbers, so those boundaries
I
changed
guess
a bit.
I guess I would be confused because
You would be
currently
in that
District Four is only the south area.
Right,
And you need
But
to
we'd
lose
say we
about
would move 3 all the way
7,000
around?
You need to lose
Is that
about
what it would be?
7,000
So you
voters.
have to even them out.
Right. Oh, totally understand it's gonna change
So when we
substantially.
just drew it, that's kind of, you get to those numbers, which are pretty close.
yeah.
What if we
Right.
don't live in our districts anymore?
Yeah,
You do.
You do.
You do.
Everybody lives in their district.
Everybody's in their district.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Everybody-
trying to figure out.
Oh.
Is that the right number?
It's probably the wrong number.
That's what I'm saying.
Three-
Is the
three-
brown
three
should be
is
4
red.
and red should be
Yeah,
3?
'cause
Cause I was
I'm
like,
like,
wait a second, that
sorry,
doesn't make
that's
any
right.
sense.
I'm like, but I don't live in
sorry.
my district
Okay, good.
anymore.
That's why I'm like, that
We're
doesn't
doing what
make
the,
any sense
we're
to
doing what the
me.
legislature did, which is just renumber everything,
What?
so
We'll
everybody's
just renumber
confused.
everything.
I was just
Um,
confused.
I see
I'm
what
like,
you're
no, I
saying.
don't.
No.
Sorry,
No.
that's why I was
East to west,
confused. Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
There we go.
There you
That
go.
makes a lot more sense.
Was that an Adobe or Paint or what'd you do that on? Yeah.
It's true.
So,
Etch-a-Sketch?
with these numbers, I mean, we've got the population deviation to 1.5%, which is substantially better. These are based off of the 2020 census numbers. I cannot do anything except for
Yeah.
what those numbers are given, so to start off, we're already going to be behind, to say that. We've tried to keep the neighborhoods together in contemplating these to have definitive boundaries rather than specific jogs, so we basically only took into consideration those neighborhoods, and then once the map was put together, we looked at where each representing council member lived to make sure that multiple council members weren't placed in a single district. If the
I'll just say that's a great point, Jake.
If you guys wanna try to, make adjustments to this, or you wanna try a different route, we can do that.
So
We just would like to have a starting point to take.
But you
to.
just make a comment, I really like the fact that this generally follows some major roadway geographic type of delineations for
Common
the most
sense
part,
methodology.
it's good, yeah, right? It seems logical, it seems well organized, there is a little, it gets a little squiggly between 2 and 3, and there are a couple places, and 3 and 4 right there on that. It looks like there's a weird cut through some neighborhoods and stuff, so,
Yeah, you've got Mountain View is that one, but then I'm not sure what that 133, that is so that's Mountain View there, but 133, where there's 133, it's right up there.
yeah, that little one in the corner there, or, yeah,
I have
it just seems like that's cutting a weird neighborhood off there.
you're thinking this one right there.
Yeah, that little bloop is a
And I'm
little,
not sure,
Can you zoom in on that?
right there.
yeah, I don't know what that road is, or
By a road line.
what that road is.
Yeah,
There's
it
a road.
was,
It's a road,
got it.
so.
Am I safe walking around?
right,
I'm trying to figure out what road that is.
No idea.
That's Rose something. Rose something.
Or Juniper.
Well, no, Juniper's farther here, but yeah.
Is that Rose Summit?
Or Sierra Rose? Is that Sierra?
I don't know, cause I can't even
Never
figure out where
sat
my house is on
You're,
it.
you're right here, Steve.
Oh, there it is, that's evening side, okay.
Somebody has
So
to.
that's Rose Summit.
Pine Roads between
Pine Road.
133 and
Pine Road.
You're not going anywhere.
Oh, the Rose Summit is the longer road, the
This one.
east-west road, if you,
Right?
no,
Oh, Rose Summit.
Rose Summit is that one.
This.
Yeah, Pine Road is
Pine
that.
Road's on the bottom.
So,
But this is embarrassing.
so we tried to follow these roads, we just know it's a Rose number.
Yeah,
Letter, something Rose. But yeah, so Jackie did a great job, cause we have to also follow the precinct lines that the county gives you,
got it.
and
but
so.
we'll realign precincts as well, cause they can only have so many active voters in each precinct, so those will be looked at after we get our maps kind of figured out.
Understood.
Yeah, this is really complex, and I wanna point out Jackie and working with GIS, they did a ton of
We-
work to make, and to bring it to that number was actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And then in 2 weeks, it'll be,
Well, it's already,
It's already.
It's already
updated.
changed.
It's already.
I'd like that Olympia split, cause there will be equal growth in 1 and 2, or 1
Yeah.
and 3, I like that.
right,
I mean,
That'll
and
change in 10 years.
There'll be growth in.
It'll all get squished in, two
Right, I'm
will,
just
two
saying.
will expand, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, in the future, two will have to expand, there's a lot of growth in four,
Four.
there's a lot of growth right in this area,
One,
that will
yeah.
be three, there'll be happening growth here. So in the future, it's two that's somewhat landlocked, but
Yeah.
it'll just grow as the.
Yeah, it'll just expand
Something
it,
like that.
choose some of those pieces of it.
Dan's
I
area.
think we're good. You taking this map to the public?
are we
now?
okay putting this map out to the public and start
Yep,
those processes?
do it.
Okay,
Good
thank
work,
you.
Jackie, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
So,
Make a motion to
do we
adjourn,
have
move
it
to
closed? Yeah,
Yeah.
I asked for that.
You damn for it.
You knew we were having.
Motion to temporarily recess city council meeting, convening closed session for the purpose to discuss pending or reasonable imminent litigation on the purchase, exchange, or lease of real properties provided by Utah Code annotated section 52-4-205.
Motion by Steve, probably second by Sherry. Jerry, right.
What?
You wanna go to close? Teddy,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yeah.
Teddy, Steve.
Yes,
Okay.
I've been called worse.
Thank you, everybody.
Peace out.
I had one.
So we have one staff item
Yeah.
for closed and then
Two items?
There's two, one property, and I think one